Okay, so we're gonna start with some questions from our VIPs, and then that were submitted, and then we'll go into some questions that I thought of via the internet, and then if we have time, we will do some questions. I did use ChatGPT, and then we will go into some questions from the audience if you guys feel like you have some you would like to ask. First one, this one's for you, Father. What is the status of the Grim Tales of Terror movie? Because I know you have a semi-update.
The full movie is, we're still in the process of raising some funds for it. The Kickstarter stuff is done. We're just trying to decide if we're going to release that or wait until the full movie is done. Most likely now we'll release the Kickstarter portion and film the rest of it in the spring. Because we were probably going to film in New Jersey, and it's starting to get cold, and there's some outdoor scenes and stuff, so most likely we will film in the spring. Still to be determined. So we've got a lot of good stuff going on with it, good script, some good attachments we haven't announced yet. So it's just kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern, unfortunately.
Will there be a Grim Tales of Terror Volume 6?
Yes.
Okay, this one is for all of you. From Bob Wilson. At what age did you think comics would be a career path?
At what age? 17. Because that's when I started as an intern at Marvel Comics, and people seemed to think I was doing a good job, so I was able to just keep doing it.
I'm still wondering if I can do it as a job. I'm still trying to figure out if this is going to support me. Probably this 20 years, I'm going to be 35 next year. Probably like 2 years into this, so 18 years ago, I'm like 37. That's when I thought it was viable.
What's up, all you guys? How you guys doing? You guys enjoying all the crotch shots you see here? Isn't that amazing? They couldn't afford curtains, so you get a nice view. A little bit. You're welcome. Imported. For me, believe it or not, I was 8 years old. I'm second-gen comics. My dad and his bro, they all collected. They went to the store. They bought comics when they were 10 cents each. So I was just born into it. And I started at 6 years old. When I was 8, I was like, I want to do this forever. Like, this is my thing. So it was pretty early for me.
I was probably 6 years old in kindergarten, coloring on the floor when I got suspended for coloring on the floor. And I'm like, you know what? I think comic books, literally. Yes. Yeah, for coloring on the floor. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm getting in comics.
Scott wants to know if you can do a connecting cover with Drax, Sonia Coco, and Ali Garza.
Yes.
What was the most complex storyline done for the Zenescope universe?
I would say probably the Cthulhu one.
Cthulhu, just because there's so many characters and already established and all that mythology. So I wrote a bunch of stuff and he had to check it out.
Anybody know who Jim Lee is here? Anybody heard of this guy? Little short Korean dude. What about Alex Ross? Anybody heard of him? Oh, you guys, yeah. So I grew up liking comics. Like I said, I'm second generation, and those guys always drew the most epic stuff, like just connecting covers. Like Alex Ross would draw 6 covers on top, another 6 covers on the bottom. And like I saw that, and I was just like, I never thought that I could ever do something like that in my career. But working for these guys, I actually thought like maybe I have a chance. So anytime they asked me for a cover, they asked me to do the cover for the 50th anniversary for Grimm. Anybody seen that book?
Dad, isn't that
You guys see it?
your background on your computer? It's the
It's the
background on his computer.
Oh my God, I think I did something right. I think I did something right. All right, check, list, done. And they were just like, the original concept was just, a few characters. Like, hey, can we do these 5 characters? I don't even know if you know the story. And on the cover, and I'm just like, excuse me, what? You want 5 characters for your anniversary? I'm just like, no. We're gonna do 3 covers, and I want a list of every character in your universe. I want to make this thing like epic. I wanted a triple connecting cover, all of them on there. And they had to like combine like efforts to get like all the list of the characters. So like when I did like the Pied Piper, you guys look at the bottom, like all the mice are sitting there like kind of like running towards everything. And even Neverland. Like I drew the Neverland guy, but like there's a floating ship in the back. Like I literally try to bring not just the characters, but like their whole universe involved. And if you look at like Hansel and Gretel, like one of the alligators, the 8 hooks, like hand is like in the bottom, like trying to get after them. So like I tried to bring everything on there. So there's 69 characters on that cover, not including all the extra stuff I put on there. The 69 was an accident, but it's a happy one. It's a happy one. The bittersweet though, when I turned it in, it was not in time for it to like get color to show the preview. So like I did turn it in to make the print, but it only showed you guys like the black and white version. So I always fail as usual.
Actually, I haven't done too many covers, but way back in the beginning, Raven Gregory asked me to do the Dream Eater saga, Zenescope's first crossover, Dream Eater 0. And I think originally he wanted J. Scott Campbell to do it, and he had him on the phone, and he said he couldn't do it. And then Raven hung up, and he turned over to me. He's like, "Chris, you draw, right?" And he's like, "Do you want to do the B cover to Dream Eater 0?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I'm just being thrown in to chase J. Scott Campbell. No pressure there, right? And it ended up being a compilation cover. It had some of Eric's stuff on there. It had J. Scott's stuff, and I had a very different ink style. So right there. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, Bob.
So I'll say that would be my most complicated thing. Just
What does the future look like for Zenescope? Do you plan on continuing with existing characters or creating new and unique characters? Since you want to kill everyone, apparently.
I mean, it'll be a combination for sure. We'll keep a lot of the existing characters and definitely some cool new ones coming out next year. I think we're gonna not go completely away from fairy tales, but just, I think somebody talked about Grim Tales of Terror. The horror stuff does really well, so just a little bit more horror, but the same characters with, of course, some new ones. I hope that's a good answer.
Do you want to add anything?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you remember the very first Zenescope project you worked on? What sticks with you the most about it?
I didn't know. I think I wrote a Tales of Terror story that ended up not getting used. I don't know. Yeah, I did a suitcase killer, and someone ended up writing it. No, the first one. Well, I did a Seven story when the Seven book came out. That was the first thing I did. I did Seven Pride, and then the first like true real Zenescope thing I worked on was Van Helsing 50, a Van Helsing issue where she goes back in time, and there's like a twist ending at the end where she comes back and the whole world is Nazi vampires. And someday we talked about revisiting that, so hopefully we will. Thank you. Good night.
This isn't a question for me. First cover Eric ever did was Little Mermaid, right? Ross. Yeah. Oh, Goldilocks.
No. Some of you like old school Zenescope fans might know it. I only got into Zenescope. Do you guys know Raven Gregory? He's the original Wonderland writer. So I actually didn't know these guys very well, but like he was one of my good friends at the time. And he just like begged, and like if you guys ever talk to him, like man, he's a talker. Like he eventually kind of talked me into it because at the time I was working for Top Cow, if you guys know those guys, and so I was just like, all right, dude, like whatever. What do you want me to draw? And it was like honestly like a no-name character. Like I don't even know the name of the character that I drew, but she had like a wand and she's got like magic, and there was a big dragon in the background. Anybody know that one? I think it's issue 22, I think it is. Yeah, it's because like I remember thinking, who's gonna buy this like cover? You know?
Nobody did.
It's a character like nobody knows, and it's just like a dragon in the background, you know? She is kind of flying like diagonally, and it's got like a booty shot, you know, if you guys
Someone
know
look
me.
it up.
Like, I go ass as much as I possibly can. And but I remember if I'm gonna draw something like this cheesecakey, because this was before like the Z-rated era, which I don't know if you guys know, I started. You're welcome. And so it was before that era. So like I tried to throw some cheesecake in there. So I threw in the booty, but I was just like, I have to bring in some substance. Like there is a black and white edition of this, and I drew every scale on that dragon. I drew fire coming out of the mouth, behind her, going down to the bottom, the tail is coming up to the side. It was a very epic one. I remember it like well because I was just like, I have to try to bring something
Again,
to it.
I don't know why you're looking at me. I was probably 5.
Are you not the moderator?
I don't know.
You asked the question, did you not?
I did.
Yeah, my bad. I'll talk to the audience again.
I'm just asking I was gonna say talk to them. Cote?
So
about
the
it.
first project wasn't specifically one project. Actually, I think it was about like 13 things that Joe had sent over when I first started. I think it was a part-timer, and it was like the Myths and Legends logo and the Monster Hunter Survival Guide T-shirt, which I think may have got turned into an ad. Did we? I don't think we ever turned it into a shirt. I don't remember the rest, but it was like there was like 13 things on it. I remember doing Grim Fairy Tales, Myths and Legends.
Zenescope has told a lot of wild, dark, and fun stories over 2 decades. Is there a storyline or moment that you are most proud of contributing?
Oz, Return of the Wicked Witch story. That's probably the one I'm most proud of. At the turning into a graphic novel, my backer kit, available right now.
Grim Fairy Tales 21.
No, that's Sam.
Show the class.
Go to every person, pass it around. I've always been partial to the Neverland storyline.
It's definitely Grim 50, because if you guys look at the cover, each one of the characters, I tried to add like a little bit of storytelling, like the best that I could. Like Hansel and Gretel, they're tied up. One that got the apple in the mouth, like they look like they're ready to be eaten. You know, even Tweedledee and Tweedledum are on there. Like I put the Wonderland glass in the back. Like I tried to bring as much storytelling into that one as possible. Like it was a giant pain in the ass. Like I tried my absolute best.
Again, you
to
did
try
a
to
good
get
job.
you guys.
It's his computer background. It's not his children. It's
You know,
your artwork.
and just so you guys know, like at the time I was a lot more affordable, so you may never see me do another triple cover again because it's just so expensive. And like, Ebats, what are you fucking crazy? Like, no, we're not gonna pay you for 3 covers at one time. So just save her, just so you guys know.
I'd probably say the Dream Eater cover, because that was just really cool to be able to work with all the other artists and stuff like that. And a lot of them like inspired me, and I was also so new to Zenescope at that point in time to be kind of just thrown right into it.
What has been the biggest challenge or joy in shaping the look of Zenescope for, it says 20 years. How long have you been here? 15?
15, yeah. Yeah.
For 15 years?
And my answer is yes. It's just staying on top of everything, keeping everything going.
Just so you guys know, Chris does stay on top of it. Like, I don't think he leaves the office. Like, he
Not
literally is, I never see him leave. He's always there. So I go home, I go to bed. You see him arrive. So he does leave.
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, he really is always on. If there's, I feel bad because he is, the one list of 13 was like the first list of 30,000 I gave him. So I'm always hitting him with a list of something. Can you do this? And he gets it done. Oh, and Jen, yeah. But he like, Chris has never said no or complained or done it. You know, he just gets it done. So he really does step up.
What's a behind-the-scenes story from your time here that fans might never guess?
And there's a lot we can't say about that. Although another Chris Cote, which you might not know, he is the greatest volleyball player in the universe. At least in Cancun, wearing all black in 110-degree weather.
What a
I've never-
trench coat.
With a trench, I've never seen anything like it.
For 5 minutes.
And I just watched him back and forth hit every ball. Cancun, we almost lost Jen. She fell off a cliff because she drank too much.
So when the Watchmen movie came out, do you guys know the Watchmen? Yeah. Again, Raven Gregory, he's the writer of Wonderland, and he called me up one day. He's like, dude, you want to go watch the Watchmen? I live in California. He lives in Arizona. And he's like, but we're going to watch it in Philly with Zenescope. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's just go. So I hopped on a plane. I met him. Like, we came down all the way here. I met Zenescope, like, studios for the first time. It was the first time I ever saw the studio. And just to go watch The Watchmen, like, we went out, we went to dinner. They took us out. I expected them to pay, and they did, so that was nice. I saw the studio, and it was just an epic time. Like, I think my earliest memory of ever visiting, traveling to a place where I didn't actually have to work. Like, nobody asked me for signatures, for drawings. It was just so amazing. So like, I got to come, visit, hang out with everybody, and it was just like to watch a movie. So it was definitely a great time. It was during the winter, so I remember throwing snowballs, and like I threw this one really good like curveball, and it hit Raven Gregory in the ear. Oh, it was so good. And he was kind of like dizzy for a little bit, and I remember him falling on the ground, and I was just kind of laughing my ass off.
How do you think that Zenescope has grown or changed the most since those early days?
I mean, it's obviously changed a lot. When we first started the company, Ralph and I were aspiring screenwriters and an actor, and we wanted to get into movies. So, well, I didn't want to be in a movie. I just wanted to write movies. So that was 20 years ago, and we never thought we'd be doing comics, I don't think, for 20 years. Still doing it. It's been a lot of fun, and we're going to have, hopefully, this movie come out in a year, and then we'll finally do it after 20 years. But it's constantly evolving business. Other ways that it's evolved, I don't know. How has comics evolved for you, Mr. U.S.?
In the beginning, though, you guys didn't do Z-rated until
we didn't do that.
I forced them. You guys know
He
that
did force
in the
us.
early days, they took a cover, did this cheap-ass version of an alternate cover, and just swapped colors. They just took the image.
Who did that?
These guys, and they would just change the color and then give us more money. And I'm like, no, bro, you can't do that to the fans. I sat there and I fought for you guys. So for about, thank you. And it gets better.
This is
so for the
complete
first
reversionist history, but it's okay.
for the first several years, I actually had to beg them, like, please just let me draw an alternate version, and I'll do it for free, just so we can get that out there. So, because I wanted to give you guys more bang for your buck. I'm just like, I need to give you guys something extra.
That leads into my next question. What do you think makes a Zenescope book instantly recognizable on a shelf? My answer, boobs.
No, I mean, I think it's mostly the quality of the art, I think, is... and the art direction there's definitely a style that has been developed over the years that I think has been perfected and mimicked, but I think it's still recognizable, and I think the art direction is a big part of it.
Like, you guys will all definitely like agree with this. Like, there's a mainstream, all right? You got Wolverine, you got X-Men and all that, and then we got you guys that the main two just like forgot about. It's just like, you guys exist, but we don't care. And these guys came and gave you like that horror, that gritty, the blood, like the sex appeal, and that. I mean, it's so obvious when you walk into the shop and you see just X-Men, fucking Hulk, Spider-Man, and all that, and then you got that dark, that edgy stuff. Like, it couldn't jump off the shelf more than it does.
First question is for Ebas. Ebas, how do you obviously you're a very creative guy, drawing maybe your own characters as well as things that inspire you. How do you balance, I guess, creating your artwork, someone else's character, but also, having it be your style while also, doing justice to the character / story? How do you combine those things into making a good product?
So to answer your question, so what I do is I try my best to try to put myself in the shoes of the character. So one of my favorite favorite covers I've ever drawn is the Mad Hatter is stabbing Kaylee in the stomach, and I don't think I'm a psychopath, but if I have to put myself in the shoes of one, that's what they all say, right? Yeah. So I try to put myself in the shoes without going too crazy. So I had to design this scene. It was at the top of the Empire State Building, and I don't know if you guys know this cover, but it's my favorite cover that I've ever drawn, and I have the original art still hanging on my wall. So I was picturing him stabbing her. It was in the script, so it was part of what I was supposed to do, and that's all that was in the description is him stabbing her. But I'm putting myself in the shoes of the Mad Hatter, and I would think that if he thought that he won the fight, the battle, he's probably gloating, egotistical son of a bitch. So I pictured like an evil Joker grin on his face. So he's smiling, and he's got one hand down here, knife all the way through her gut, and he's got the other hand on her chin, delicately holding her chin, and he's looking right in her eyes. And I'm thinking that he's thinking, I want to see your soul leave your body. And that delicate touch is a huge insult and a slap in the face to that character. And she's dropping her axe. They were in this big fight. There's rain coming down. So my point is that I try to do the character justice, no matter who I'm drawing, and try to put myself in their shoes and try to bring out the essence of the character. Even if I'm drawing a pinup, a movie cover or an ass cover, I still try to bring a little bit of that to it in hopes that there's a little bit of substance in there. So that's the best that I can do to try to bring the character justice, for sure.
When you started Zenescope, you're what are you, 70? No, just kidding, I'm kidding. So you were 35. What would you tell yourself, as a creative / and or businessman, anything differently, or any words of encouragement for yourself back then?
Don't ever hire Jason. I don't really have a lot. I mean, I just think that if you want to do something, just do it. I mean, don't think about, you're going to fail a lot at anything you do. And I don't think we ever really considered failure. Like, it wasn't something that we were afraid of or I was afraid of. You're never going to know everything. So, I mean, it's like, just take action. Like, whatever you do, it's rather than think about it, you can debate about it. That's just excuses to not get stuff done. So just take action. I don't know that I do much differently. I mean, having better business sense, those kind of things. I didn't go to school for business or anything like that would probably help, but at the same time, it might also hold you back because you're, again, thinking about the risk and things like that. Just do it, like e-commercial. Yeah, just do it. Your spouse is going to tell you that you're trying to start a business for 5 years. She's not even listening. She's heard this. You don't be afraid of failure and take your chances.
Do you guys feel like you're at the point where these stories are kind of writing themselves and these characters kind of write themselves? Is it at that point of a natural feel, or you guys still kind of have to grind for every line, every scene?
As the characters and the personalities get developed, then it becomes easier to think about what a character is going to do in a particular situation in a story. It is a grind to keep trying to make something unique out of it, because I feel like you could kind of easily fall into a rut and just like do the same story over and over again. So it's both. I mean, it's definitely cooler to get into the mind of a character that you're familiar with, but then you still always want to push it in a different direction.
I think that ideas are very easy. So there's a lot of ideas. It's just getting the execution and writing them is always a grind. Like Dave said, writing is not really fun. It's work. So yeah, and the ideas are fun. Like Dave and I will meet on Monday to go over ideas and stuff for 2026. That'll be fun. I'm answering a question, please. Please stop interrupting. Yeah, doing the work is still a grind, and it's tough, and it's just constant rewriting.
All right, so like you said before, there have been companies like Top Cow, CrossGen, those companies that have been a big flash real fast and then kind of faded off and that sort of thing. So how have you survived for 20 years? I mean, there had to have been points where you're like, are we going to make it till the next month or not? So how did you keep pushing through?
I think it's the characters and the stories, and we've had a lot of talented writers and artists. Not that the other companies didn't. I think that, again, going back to kind of Sam's question, there's always going to be tough situations. You just figure out a way to fight through them like you have to. I do this stuff for my family, so that's why I started this business in the first place, so I could, whatever my kids had something that I wanted to do with them, I could do it. I've seen all their games. Anytime Alex had anything, there's a pain in the ass, I went and saw school trips, things like that. So that motivates me to just, make sure that I'm going to be in that situation. And we've never really relied on outside finances, outside, beholden to anybody else. So I'm anti-authoritarian. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do when I want to do it. So, I never want to work for anybody else again in my life. I think that in some ways pushes it too. So, yeah, I could not go work for somebody else. So I have to make sure this stays going. And right now, look, it's been a tough year because everybody knows what's happening with Diamond, right? It's been really tough. But we've pivoted to Kickstarter. We've pivoted to other stuff, and you just figure out a way to make it work.
With a lot of characters becoming public domain now, for like example Popeye and stuff like that, are you going to look to?
Yes.
Well, we did. Noah wrote the very entertaining Pooh vs. Bambi, so
Yeah, Noah.
which was great. So we'll do some. I mean, I'm actually leaning towards more original creations, I think, than public domain at this point, because. Like I said, everybody's doing the Popeye and the Winnie the Pooh, although I think ours was good. Scooby-Doo, is that going to be public domain? No.
He got real excited.
No. Huh? But I think more original characters. The only reason we went with public domain to begin with is because we wanted a license that we didn't have to pay for. So, and we did, like Dave said, he worked on 7, and 7 was the book that we really went after for New Line. And they were like, we'll give you 7 if you license Final Destination, which I didn't want to do Final Destination, but it ended up being a good thing because we got that comic in a Circuit City DVD mixture, which put Circuit City out of business, I think. We wanted licenses. We tried to get a couple licenses. We went the first one, probably people don't know this, The first license we went after was Stephen King. Stephen King, if you've heard the stories about him, like he'll sell you, you can get the rights to his stories for $1. The guy who wrote the Wonderland screenplay, which still isn't produced, actually went to Stephen King's house and threw like a brick with a story or something over his fence and he ended up getting to write a story. I forget exactly what it was. His name's Steven Susko. But anyway, I actually sent a cold email to Stephen King's. It wasn't his agent. It was like his whatever it was, one of his managers, and he got back to me right away because we did it smart. We had a bunch of samples. What we wanted to do was take his short stories and make them into comics. So nobody had really done it before. So he got back to me within like hours. Like it was like the next day, and I'm like, shit, we're getting the Stephen King license. This is fucking great. But we hadn't put anything out yet, and for a year. So then we really started to ramp up, got Grim Fairy Tales going, and he wanted to meet us at Wizard World, and we weren't going to be at that first Wizard World. So I was like, yeah, we're not doing it, whatever. We'll be there the next time. And in that year of time frame, they went to Marvel, and that's where they got we actually gave them the idea to do that. I think they did Stan, right? It was the Stan, the Marvel comic, and I was like, fuck. They're talking about like setbacks, right? The license, yeah, it was the Stand, right? The first comic they did with Marvel, I think, was the Stand. But like they sold the rights. Marvel sold the international rights, I think, to London for the Stand comic for like $1 million, whatever it was. So like we were going to be on Easy Street right from the jump, right? Because we had Stephen King. And then I kind of got I got licensing was like, I had a bad taste in my mouth from it. So we're like, all right, we'll find some stuff that's public domain, and that worked out. But long answer for one short question. But the Stephen King stuff, and I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and now it's like, we thought about going back to him. We probably could, but I don't know. I don't want to pay for it, so. I don't know.
That's a good question. How did
I have it written down somewhere. It was like I wanted something that was partial art, partial like business kind of. So, and I don't, when you're Dave, knows this. Eric knows this. When you're in comics, like if you look, there's like AAA comics. Like everybody wants to be at the front of the catalog. So everything's A. Like A, and it was just I'm such a Zen guy, so not. I was just like, my daughter's back there laughing. Sam, there's something going on up here. How Zen am I? Z ended up working out well too, because now you go right to the back of the book. So retailers would tell us like, yeah, you're not right at the front, but we know how to find you pretty quickly. So, but I actually wrote down. I got that question a lot, and I never really had a great answer, so I wrote it down, but now I forgot it. What the answer is. So
should keep it in your
smart
phone.
but stupid.
You've mentioned a couple times about the dumpster fire that is Diamond. How is that looking for 2026? Is that going to settle out? Is that going to?
So Diamond is going to be done. Is that I don't think they're going to be distributing it all anymore. Lunar has taken over in some ways. I think Universal, who is a Canadian distributor, who we've just signed with, but they're only doing Canada right now. They're going to be moving into the U.S. They're distributing DC. And if anybody read their article, was on one of the pop culture sites. They have a pretty good strategy in terms of they want properties like ours that are going to cross over to games and other media forms and things like that. So I think we'll just be with Universal. We'll have to struggle to get through the year, and like I said, again, Kickstarter's been a great outlet with the Printopia on BackerKit. Just finding ways to offset that loss from Diamond. But Diamond to me doesn't seem to have any intention of wanting the people who bought them, which is Sparkle Pop. I don't know why they bought them, other than maybe for their facility or their infrastructure, because they don't want to distribute comics. From what I can tell, they don't want to pay us what they owe us. So,
Joe, can you retell the story about printing Grim Fairy Tales 1?
Jay, you love this story.
I do love this story.
Does anybody not love this? Does anybody know this story? I swear everybody's heard this.
All right.
All right. So the first time when we printed, so Grim Fairy Tales, we did the first couple of, everything was comics. We didn't really know much graphic novels, and we solicited Grim Fairy Tales through Diamond, and I forget what the first order number was. It wasn't a lot. It was maybe like 1,000 copies or something, and we were printing overseas, and the minimum order was like you know, you had to order at least 3, 4, 5,000. And this is the story you want to hear, right? Part of it. So I got on the phone with our rep at Diamond, and I'm like, you've got to sell, you know, like I got to print more than this. You guys have got to go out and sell this book. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, you're not going to sell. You'll be lucky if you sell 1,200 copies. And I'm like, well, we're printing 10,000, so you better fucking sell them. And he's like, you'll never sell that many. He said, you know, that's what a Marvel book sells. And I said, okay. So we had nowhere to store them. We ordered 10,000. One of our business partners, his name is Jim, lived in Jersey. We just put him in his basement. So the guy came, dumped him in the street on the pallets, and like 3 hours later, we had them all in this guy's basement. And I mean, now we've sold almost 100,000 copies of that book. So again, kind of, you know, think about somebody tells you can't do it. So Jason, for whatever reason, loves that story. He wasn't there to carry shit. So
If he worked here, all of those would have been gone in 2
if I'd have hired you
days.
sooner, you would have had a heart attack and you wouldn't be here. You would have fell down them steps. Stove would have got it done. Stove, you weren't there either to help me. It was me and Ralph didn't do shit. I think I carried every one of those books myself. What a freaking nightmare. And the whole time I was cursing that bastard. Not Ralph, Jason and the Diamond guy. Well, that's the story. Like, for the first 3 years we had business, I didn't take a paycheck. 3 years, we didn't take paychecks. You know, that's another way you had to go through it. So she was working as a prostitute. And we made a lot of money that way, let me tell you. No. She was working in a nursing home, and she supported us for those couple years. And you know, we had 3 or 4 kids at that time. We had at the time when we started probably.
What is it's 20
So we
years,
had 3 kids, and
2005,
Danny was
you had
just
3.
born. Yeah, so we had 4 kids, and she kept telling everybody,
Danny
my
was
husband's
born, yeah.
trying to start a business, and I'm like, what am I fucking doing all day long? Like, what do you think I'm doing? Working. So, but that's what'll happen. Gambling, yeah, I did. First year, I made almost $10,000 playing online poker, so that helped. Dude, when I say made, I'm not like you. It's profit. I was a poker shark. 10 G's, and every minute she'd be like, where's your poker money? And I'm like, you know, sometimes you lose. You don't lose, sir. Go back to work. So I'd be up all night playing online poker.